Latest polls show the majority of Americans believe a terrorist act is likely or very likely in the U.S. within the next few months. And in response to the shooting in California and its possible terrorism connection, President Obama suggested that people on the no-fly list should also be banned from buying guns.
You know, some may be aware of the fact that we have a no-fly list where people can't get on planes, but those same people who we don't allow to fly could go into a store right now in the United States and buy a firearm, and there's nothing that we can do to stop them. That's a law that needs to be changed.
However, Congress has steered clear of trying to tackle any gun legislation in recent years. And while terrorism is on the minds of many, Valley News Team's Neil Carlson shows us it's not hindering folks here in the Valley and mostly anywhere from flying.
The U.S. Department of Transportation says the number of domestic and international flyers in the U.S. rose 18% over the last 12 years. 64 million flyers in just January of this year was the fourth highest ever. Not one of the folks I spoke with here at the Grand Forks Airport this morning said the threat of terrorism had any effect on their decision to fly.
Right.
Do you kind of feel like I'm not going to let this wreck my life?
Exactly. Yeah, living in fear is not the way to live, so we're going to keep going.
You don't let it make your decisions on whether or not you're going to fly, thinking about terrorism?
No.
I think it's safer to fly than it is to drive anymore, so.
I wouldn't go overseas right now.
Okay. But flying in the U.S., you're not too worried about
I
it?
am not, no.
The only person I found today who was worried about flying wasn't worried about terrorists. He just doesn't like flying.
Yeah, I'm just not a flyer. I don't like being up there in that air.
Now, if you have concerns about who you're flying with, there is no public information available regarding who's on the FBI's no-fly list. Dave Jolly, a spokesperson for the Terrorist Screening Center, can only say there have been no recent changes as to who winds up on the no-fly list.
The regulations that we're following are the same today, tomorrow, and 6 months ago. Our policies remain the same, and our posture remains the same.
So while information is limited as to who we're all flying with, it appears to be that the majority of us still believe it's safe. In Grand Forks, Neil Carlson, Valley News Live.
Now, if you want more information about who winds up on the FBI's no-fly list, we have a link to it online. Just go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. Well, it is another clear, rather nice winter day out there, and thanks to the sunshine earlier, much of that snow that fell and created some ice on the sidewalks and roads is melting a little bit at least. Let's talk to Hutch to see what we can expect tonight. Hutch?
Well, we have highly variable weather across the region as we head into the evening. Stephanie, here is a look at what we showed you last night. That is where the snow is on the visible satellite from Grand Forks down to Fargo, from Bismarck all the way down into Sioux Falls, heavy snow. But up north where you see the darker terrain there, no snow on the ground. Look at how that impacted temperatures today. We mentioned this last night, hitting 50 degrees in Langdon, near 50 in places like Rock Lake, Candu, and Pembina Gorge. Elsewhere, we were stuck in the 20s and 30s today. Here's a look at your evening planner. In Fargo, Moorhead, and Grand Forks, temperatures will be on the cool side, 20s, with a light south breeze out there. Overnight, we may see some of that frost setting up again with south winds. Now, we'll continue to see our warming trend, but again, that snow does make a huge difference on our temperatures. I'll tell you when I think we lose enough of it to see temperatures like they're seeing up north. Hit here in the Southern Valley.
All right. It's nice to see some of that clearing, though, off sidewalks and roads.
Yeah, it's getting a little easier to get around.
All right. Thanks, Hutch. Thousands of chemicals and millions of deaths. Health officials have warned about the dangers of using tobacco products for years. But what about e-cigarettes? Those in the industry say it's safe and helps people quit tobacco as the main reason a local vape shop is having a major event this weekend. Valley News Team's Bradford Eric talks with the shop owner who says he believes in this so much, he's helping people get started.
I mean, there's propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, food flavoring, and nicotine. They're all FDA or ADA certified ingredients.
Bill Boldenau is part owner of Infinite Vapor, a vape shop in downtown Fargo. His company is lighting up profits across the nation's heartland and into Canada.
And we've helped over 40,000 people become tobacco-free just in our company alone.
Take this story, for instance.
We've helped a 94-year-old lady actually become tobacco-free that has smoked for 50-some years. Our goal as a company from when we started day one is to be, you know, able to help people become tobacco free.
And starting Friday, you can try your hand at vaping for free. Infinite Vapor is giving away 4,000 starter kits to people who want to quit traditional tobacco. You've got to have a state-issued ID, be over the age of 18, and you have to be someone who smokes or chews. But is Bill just selling a bunch of smoke and mirrors?
But we are finding now with some of the literature now that the aerosol that they say is being produced is not just water vapor. Okay, that's one of the big safety concerns that we have.
Debbie Farnham is a respiratory therapist with Sanford Health. She says studies have shown that the vapor put in the air contains heavy metals. There's documented cases of poisonings and the devices blowing up. And the flavored nicotine juice means it's a prime target for youth.
They're trying to market them in a sense that it's going to help people stop using tobacco. Unfortunately, that's not happening. We're getting a lot more starting up or trying. And that number has really increased, again, with no idea of what the safety is of them or what they're inhaling.
Bottom line is do your homework. For some people it works, others nothing. But understand the risks before you visit your nearest vape shop. Bradford Eric, Valley News Live.
Fargo Cass Public Health reports e-cig use doubles the current smoking rate and that nearly 14% of teens had used an e-cigarette in the past 30 days. Again, the free starter kit giveaway starts tomorrow at Infinite Vapor. Fargo Police Department is turning now to the public to help find 2 missing teens. They're looking for these two, 16-year-old Angie White Lightning, who's pictured on the left, and 13-year-old Destiny Norquay, who's pictured on the right. Both were last seen on November 28th, and both girls have brown hair and brown eyes. Police don't have a description of what Destiny was wearing. Angie was last seen wearing possibly a red shirt and black pants. If you have information on either of these girls, you're asked to contact Fargo Police right away. Fargo Police say a tip from the public on Facebook has helped them arrest 2 burglary suspects. Officers got the tip Tuesday about possible stolen property from recent burglaries being found at an apartment on the 2500 block of 9th Street North. Detectives followed up on the tip, conducting surveillance on the property and served a search warrant yesterday. Police say they recovered several stolen items that had been reported missing from garages and vehicles in the past month. 23-year-old Carlos Schussler was arrested on several drug charges, in addition to burglary and possession of stolen credit cards. 23-year-old Adriana Boatwright was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of stolen property. Why kids who play in contact sports could develop a brain disorder that's seen in pro football players. That story is coming up.
Once again, snowpack here in the Southern Valley limiting our warm-up. I'll have details on that warm-up. We should see the snowpack melting away with a mild week ahead. Details are next.